Trump this morning, the update for our audience is he has pleaded not guilty. Let's start there, Mike. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project. He has pleaded not guilty in Fulton County. What does that mean? What are the implications, timelines, everything? The floor is yours.
So thank you for having me on again. And President Trump waived his arraignment down in Fulton County, Georgia, with Fani Willis with her bogus racketeering indictment against him. He pled not guilty. The arraignments where you bring the defendant in and the judge makes sure that the defendant understands the charges against him, how much jail time he faces, make sure that he has an attorney. You can waive that. It's pretty routine. So President Trump waived that. Fani Willis, who's a total buffoon, is going to try to have her trial before the election, like the rest of these Democrat prosecutors with their election interference. We have, this is lawfare on many different fronts. We have Alvin Bragg charging President Trump for the non-crime of settling a nuisance claim. Somehow that turned into a campaign finance violation. The Soros-funded Manhattan DA. Then we have Jack Smith charging President Trump for the non-crime of a former president having his presidential records, which is allowed by the Presidential Records Act. Then we have Jack Smith and now Fani Willis charging President Trump for the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. Twisting arms politically is allowed by the First Amendment. We have New York Attorney General Tish James bringing a civil fraud lawsuit against Trump for the non-fraud of a businessman paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full with interest. You have Jean Carroll bringing a lawsuit. All these Democrat operatives, Democrat politicians fear they could not beat President Trump on November 5th, 2024. And as you just discussed, Andrew, they should fear that because President Trump is going to beat Biden like a drum. They tried to take out President Trump with 2 impeachments, 4 indictments, several lawsuits. They've turned him into Tupac, right? He's becoming a legend that bigger than life, and they can't take him out. So the next play that they're trying to do is what you talked about, which is disqualification under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which is just an absurd legal theory. After the Civil War, the Republic almost fell apart. You had the Confederate rebellion, insurrectionists trying to go to war against the Union. And after the Civil War, what was happening is you had these Confederate sympathizers, including Confederate soldiers, who were getting elected to office, including the House of Representatives. And so as part of the Civil War amendments, the 13th Amendment to outlaw slavery, the 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendment to provide due process and equal rights to the freed slaves, they passed Section 3, which disqualified these Confederate sympathizers from holding office if they took up arms against the United States, insurrection or rebellion. But under Section 5 of the 14th Amendment, these are not self-executing provisions. Under Section 5, the Congress has to pass a statute, a criminal statute, so you have evidence and a trial with a judge and a jury, and it's subject to appeal before you can disqualify someone from federal office under Section 3. So Congress has passed a statute, and the rebellion and insurrection statute, and that's on the books. They're not charging President Trump with rebellion or insurrection under the statute, so you can't disqualify him unless you charge him under that federal criminal statute. And you can't just have some Yahoo Secretary of State somewhere just unilaterally decide, hey, we're in a swing state like New Hampshire, we're just going to take President Trump off the ballot so Biden wins by default.
All right, so and you're going into the guts of this article, and I want you were telling me some stuff in the break I want you to repeat for our audience. So this is from Reason, Professor Michael McConnell responding about the 14th Amendment, insurrection, and Trump. He says, we must not forget that we are talking about empowering partisan politicians such as state secretaries of state to disqualify their political opponents from the ballot, depriving voters of the ability to elect candidates of their choice. If abused, this is profoundly anti-democratic. Now, this is similar to what we've heard from Alan Dershowitz. He said that this is basically the end of democracy as we know it if these laws, or if this legal theory, rather, is pursued in any real form. Now, we heard about California's considering doing this. okay, fine, we don't win any electoral, we don't win the state of California anyways, but New Hampshire is potentially a battleground state. I haven't seen the polling out of there recently. But tell us about this Professor Michael McConnell. You know this person. He's no Trump fan, right? And here he is debunking. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's a Stanford law professor. He was a former judge on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. And when I clerked for then Judge Gorsuch the first time on the 10th Circuit, he was one of Judge Gorsuch's colleagues. He's a good guy. He's a very smart conservative guy, more conservative/libertarian. He's definitely not a Trump fan. So this is not some Trump shill putting out this theory to debunk this bogus theory by the Democrats. This is a very well-respected former federal circuit judge and Stanford law professor who's putting out serious academic research, put out serious opinions on the 10th Circuit. And there's one case we've only had one case that addressed this provision of the 14th Amendment, and it was more than 150 years ago, and it's the controlling case on point that validates what Professor McConnell is saying now, which is that under the 14th Amendment, it's not self-executing. You can't just say, okay, well, we think that Donald Trump incited an insurrection, and so therefore we're going to take him off the ballot in New Hampshire or Michigan or one of these other states that could decide the election. Again, you have to charge President Trump with insurrection or rebellion under a specific federal criminal statute that was specifically passed to implement Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It was passed by Congress pursuant to their power under Section 5 of the 14th Amendment.
Got it. So Section 5 essentially defangs this from being a unilateral move by partisan actors in various states. Is that essentially the assertion here by McConnell and yourself? That you can't just have someone unilaterally say that there's an insurrection or a rebellion and we're going to take someone off the ballot. Frankly, if you look at Fani Willis's racketeering theory down in Georgia, which is a bogus theory, but if Democrats want to use that theory, I would say to a Republican attorney general or a Republican DA, if Democrats pursue this disqualification theory under the 14th Amendment, I think that a Republican attorney general or a Republican DA should charge them with racketeering. I love that. But Mike, you're kind of exposing something that we rail on the show a lot, which is the fact that we have not seen any sort of similar counter moves by AGs or even DAs in red states. What's holding these people back? I don't understand it. I mean, Charlie brought up, just randomly picked one of the red states, South Carolina, Attorney General. We get a message back within like 10 minutes saying, hey, I'm not taking anybody off the ballot. We're like, okay, guys. Like, we're not saying you have to. We're saying counter move. Where's the aggression? Where's the offensive? Why are we not seeing that from red states? Attorneys general and DAs?
I would say that Republicans, particularly Republican attorneys, and also Republican white male politicians are the biggest cowards on the planet. They think that we're just going to return to norms after president. This is what they actually think. They think that if Trump goes away, we just go back to our norms. They don't understand that we're not dealing with our parents' or grandparents' Democrat Party. These aren't liberals who love America and just disagree with conservatives on the best way to get there. President Obama changed the Democrat Party. These are leftists. These are Marxists.
All right, Mike.